Hello everybody and welcome back to Mate Night, where we are reviewing films until someone invites us to Cannes. I am Jamie. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
Personally.
It's happening.
A personal invite. I'm Jamie. And once again, I am joined by the Super Cali,
Brilliant.
the Fragilistic, and of course the Expialidocious. It's Fred.
Fantastic. On point. On topic. On brand.
On
That's what I'm after.
on topic.
Brand.
Pink and green. Today we have a shorter one. We'll start as usual with a full non-spoiler review and rating using the sacred Mate Night machine, and then Fred's going to wrap up with a segment which he hasn't told me what it's going to be yet.
Special Freddy segment for everyone. Get
no
excited.
Teasers. Yeah.
No one's allowed to know, but it's a special Freddy segment coming right in your ears.
So, strap in.
Strap on.
Strap the hell on.
Strap on.
And let's talk some movies.
Let's go.
Dude. Wicked has just been released in theatres. It's a film adaptation of one of the most popular musical stage shows of all time, also called Wicked. The story of Wicked is part of the same universe most people will be familiar with from the film The Wizard of Oz, which came out in 1939. However, the Oz stories stretch across 14 original books, starting from the very beginning of the 1900s, and many other installments. In The Wizard of Oz, the film, our protagonist Dorothy is whisked away to the land of Oz by a storm. This land is governed by a mysterious wizard and 4 witches: the Good Witch of the North, the Good Witch of the South, the Wicked Witch of the East, and the Wicked Witch of the West.
They got a real issue with that power with the horizontal, I guess.
Yeah.
Wicked East and West.
You best stay.
North and South is fine.
Where's the divide? Do you reckon it moves around like a clock? Like,
Yeah, maybe they all shift.
when they go to war. Like,
Maybe it's a daytime, nighttime thing.
well, anyway.
That was such shit chat. Sorry, I can only apologise for that shit chat. Carry on, Jabba. I'm interested in this, by the way. I'm glad that you're explaining this to me.
Do a bit of an explanation.
Yeah,
I thought it might be
do you
quite
want me
good.
to chime in a bit? I'm
right.
finding this very interesting.
I'll probably cut most of it anyway.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Beyond their relevance to the film's narrative, we learn very little about those key characters in the Land of Oz. Wicked was written to explore how these witches became who they are and the mysterious relationships that they are told to have held in the past. The film stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo and was directed by Jon M, the same person who made In the Heights with Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Very nice.
It had a whopping budget of $145 million.
Oh, jeez.
But has grossed $178 million in its opening weekend globally, making it on track for one of the biggest films of the year.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been to see this film and assess the hype.
We have. We've both watched a film.
Believe it or not.
Thank you for those budget numbers, by the way. I liked it.
It's an interesting one. They seem to be doing well. The marketing run on this is bananas.
But will we think it's any good? Will the Mate Night machine believe it's good?
Dictate where the box office goes from now on. You'd expect.
Is it about to
tank
to fall off a cliff
when this makes it online in like 3 weeks? So we're going to start by each contributing our own rating out of 10, just in terms of how enjoyable this film was to watch. This is supposed to be absolutely subjective and not an assessment of how good the film is, just how much fun we had.
Well explained.
However, by the end of this discussion, we will have agreed on a final score.
Mate Night score.
That summarizes this film. Freddie, are you ready?
Freddie is ready.
So am I.
All right, whose go is it?
I'm sure I've counted you in a couple times.
Shall I count you in?
All right.
All right. So, Jumbo score for Wicked, the Oswardian extravaganza. I should really write something for these.
It's
supercalifragilistic. All right, out of 10, 3, 2, 1.
7.0.
8.2.
Wow, okay.
I had a great time.
Yeah, you enjoyed it, did you?
I got to say.
It was a good film, wasn't it?
It was good, yeah. There was a point in it where I came to the realisation that I was like, I bloody love musicals, me. I just can't get away from it. I can't run. I can't hide from it. I am an unapologetic musical lover.
For those interested, we have been in some musicals. We've obviously watched a lot of them together. You've shown me pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
Musicals aren't like something we've just watched for Wicked. We've been watching and participating in these things for.
We've done Sound of Music. We've done a musical, this is this going to be the second we've done. You don't worry about checking it. I reckon it is. And there was a point. All right, non-spoilers for anyone going forward. I felt at first, as someone who hadn't seen Wicked before, a self-proclaimed musical lover who hadn't seen Wicked before, I never expected it to be the sort of thing that I'd like, because some of the more famous songs, well, the one really famous song that I knew of it, I was never the biggest fan of, and I didn't think I'd like the concept. So I never went out of my way to watch it.
Yeah, okay.
So the most famous song is Defying Gravity.
It is, yeah.
I knew of that song.
I was always surprised that you hadn't watched Wicked, because it is one of the big ones.
It's one of the biggest that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest.
Because you've seen Les Mis.
I've seen most of the big musicals.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of the songs from a lot of others anyway. But this one was one I'd never had any interest in watching. And the opening number came on, and it's one that's kind of Ariana Grande heavy.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And I wasn't enjoying it very much.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
This one might be a tough watch. But there was a certain point after a few songs, I was like, oh, I'm quite enjoying this. And there was a point where I was like, I bloody love this. I'm enjoying this so much.
Nice. What did you think of Cynthia and Ariana? What do you think of their
I
performances?
thought they were both great. I thought Ariana at first, so her singing style is, she doesn't enunciate quite as well as she could.
Okay.
And I find that although her part is quite taxing on the ears anyway, it's a lot of runs and it's very high pitch, I still didn't think her tone was particularly my cup of tea. Whereas Cynthia, from the off, particularly the acting of her, I thought she's carrying off her character, who supposedly doesn't give a fuck about the fact that she's green and people don't like her and never have liked her. I thought she carried that amazingly well.
Okay.
And I was really enjoying her performance more than I thought I would. One of the few things I'd seen about Wicked ahead of watching it was that she got up in arms about someone making a fan picture. Have you heard about this?
No.
So have you ever seen the original poster for Wicked?
No. Are you talking stage show or film?
For the stage show. So it's very similar to what's in the film, but instead under the black, in the picture itself, it's the the good witch, Ariana's character as a witch in white gown, whispering into Cynthia's character, the wicked witch, the green witch.
It rings a bell. I feel like
she's whispering into her, and then she's the Cynthia's character, the wicked witch, has her like brim down, and she's got the rouge lipstick,
bit of a smile,
a bit of a smirk playing. And the new picture, which you've got up there, it's showing her eyes. You can see that there.
The one of her actual. So you got, for those listening.
So Elphaba is her name.
Elphaba, the evil witch, she's facing straight at the camera, close up, and then you've got Glinda whispering in her ear, as if she was maybe whispering some sort of secret plot. Like it looks kind of clandestine sort of thing they're doing. And
exactly.
They've done. With the actors, an exact representation of that.
But it's almost the same. It's clearly heavily influenced, but they are not showing Elphaba's eyes in the original, but they are in this one.
Yes.
And also Elphaba has more of a smirk in the original poster with red lipstick.
Those
are the only real differences. So someone made a fan version, like with AI and with Photoshop, of the original. So all they really did to change it was, I think, make Glinda's character a bit more white dress, white top hat, and then cover Elphaba's eyes and give her red lipstick and with a smirk. Yeah. That was it. That was it. It was just to
harmless.
Kind of, you'd have thought so. It's just like, oh, this is something I love, and I'm going to make it in this version. And Cynthia was not particularly happy about that.
All right.
And she released a tweet, or she made a statement saying like, "This is the worst thing I've ever seen because it takes away my face, and you shouldn't be taking away. This is why we made it, so you could see into my eyes." And it didn't go down very well because it was clearly like a fan had tried to make something that they
do. Yeah.
So going into this, I thought I probably wouldn't like her. Just out of one interaction, the only thing I knew of was that. And I got to say, she was incredible. I mean, I thought she was absolutely amazing in this.
Yeah, I'd say my biggest gripe probably was quite closely related to your concern that I felt. I don't think that she was necessarily bad. acting, I just didn't like her very much or at all. I actually kind of prepared a bit of an explanation because I was really trying to figure it out. There are a couple of things that I love about this movie a lot. I love the musical side of it, all the bits they've taken. So I love the songs.
You like the songs?
And it's not often I'll listen for a musical and the first time I'll enjoy the songs. And I was like, most of these songs I'm really enjoying, which is quite unusual. And obviously the choreography and all that is top tier stuff. I was really impressed by the musical side of it. For me, the problem I had really was the storytelling.
Okay.
So the premise is really cool. I like the whole, you've got this wicked witch that's portrayed as this bad guy, and you've got these characters from this beloved film. How do we get to where we are, and how do we get into this position? I love that. But the answer that they came up with was, let's glorify Elphaba, the young wicked witch of the West, as this absolute perfect but complete victim of her environment. Like really, really late on, I think. Now, like I said, it's not in itself a huge problem. I don't mind that you've done that, although I don't have a ton of respect for it. The problem was how thick they laid it on, how on the nose it was.
Yeah, okay.
And it basically caused two quite serious but very specific consequences. The first one being I didn't like the characters very much. Anyone other than Elphaba felt like they literally only had one purpose, which was to make Elphaba this perfect victim of her environment. And so they were like caricaturishly, just bizarrely nasty to her. And most of them were, and very unlikable characters. And Galinda was also just like weirdly shallow a lot of the time. Like there were a lot of moments where I was like, I just don't really like Galinda very much, and I don't like any of the other characters. And then Elphaba, I was more forgiving of because there were moments where it really worked. Yeah. But because the character was being portrayed as this complete victim of her environment, and she was told to kind of carry this air of like, I'm not going to let it get to me, it kind of came across to me as like this very kind of moral superiority, patronizing distaste for everybody around her. And I just constantly didn't feel like she liked me very much. And I just didn't really like her whole presence. And the only moments of vulnerability that they gave her, which is really where you can make these characters really likable. Like it's good to have that shell, but they need to have great vulnerable moments. It really felt like I was being force fed it a little bit. And so I think that there were moments where Elphaba and Glinda were really likable, but I think that broadly, I just didn't like them or any of the other characters very much because of this objective of how are we going to make her the Wicked Witch of the West? Well, just everybody's going to be a colossal knobhead to her from the day she's born, and she's going to be this perfect person who just is so much better than everyone else. And I was just like, it boiled down to just me not liking them very much. And the second specific issue was they were so focused on making me feel sorry for her that the pacing felt really sluggish. Okay. So it's 2 hours 40 for a part one. And the first 90 minutes felt like they were so focused on this objective, this sort of thematic objective, that I never really knew what I was waiting around for. Like I never really knew why I was there. And I got like a long way into the movie and I was like, what's going on here, guys? Like I'm bored. Like give us something that we're really desperately trying to do. And it felt like it was just because they were so set on making Elphaba this absolute victim that they just kind of forgot to tell a bit of a story. So I don't mind them doing it, but just make the point once and then tell me a story rather than spend 90 minutes just making me feel sorry for this like perfect person.
Yeah, it didn't affect me as much as that. I got to say, I felt like within the first 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, I wasn't enjoying the film that much in the first 10, 15 minutes. I got to a point where I was thinking, all right, I'm not really liking the songs in this. And I have the same hang-ups as you do about the character. Whereas it's going to be all, woe is me, but I'm cool.
You said a similar thing about Joker where you were like, I don't like it when films, and Taxi Driver, where films will just like, everything is wrong in my world and I'm the most suffered person ever to exist.
But I didn't feel like it was like that. I thought within the first like half an hour, let's say, things started going her way. Like, she was good. Well, I can't spoil anything yet. But I felt like there was the first portion of the film, you got a very shallow character exploration where you thought, is there going to be any nuance here? And I felt that they delivered nuance well, not just through her songs, but through her interactions with people. And they gave her nuanced relationships. They didn't just have everything go against her for the sake of saying, this is just going to make you're going to have to like this because it's the most depressing thing you've seen, which is how I feel about something like The Joker.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do agree. They had moments where I think that they did redeem her, but because of the overall objective, generally the demeanor, every other character suffered from the objective of they were generally like, yeah, there was kind of sometimes moments of nuance, but broadly it was all serving the same purpose, which is you have to like this Elphaba. She is this perfect victim. And then for so they introduced these moments of nuance, but they didn't fully redeem it for me. That was the thing. I left with a general feeling of like, I don't really like any of the characters very much. Elphaba had some moments where the cool, I don't give a fuck really worked. And I really liked it. But I just felt like in the 2 hours, 40 minutes, that could have been used more tastefully rather than what came across to me as almost sanctimonious, the way she carried herself.
Yeah, so I could see... I think that what saved me in it was that I started really liking the songs. And then for me, it was more of a mentality. Like, I would have been more glass half empty, like I was for Gladiator 2. We did Gladiator 2, and all of the issues I had with it were compounded by the fact that I felt so... I was so...
insulted almost, offended by it.
It was like... I
this
felt
thing
like
shouldn't exist.
Yeah, this is against my personal ethos that they have made something like this. And it's not just a cash grab, it's one that's been made 24 years later. With this, I started to really enjoy the musical aspect, and it reminded me of the fact that I bloody love musicals. And I think that because of that, I viewed the positives of it more, and I definitely wasn't seeing it through that lens of they are not doing enough to drive the character's arc here. And genuinely, I don't think it was just the lens through which I saw it that affected me there. I think that they did actually ease off. And there's one thing in particular, which is minor spoiler, but really you won't need to worry about this at all. They had something in it which for me can be a bit of a red flag for my personal taste, which is we're going to pander to the fact that we've got horrible white men. Yeah. Very early on, like one of the figures in the film is a white bloke who is pretty detestable. Yeah. And I thought, is it going to be like this? And they completely veered off that. And I found myself thinking, okay.
Usually if there was a detestable group, what they did was they would fill it with white people and then they put like a couple of minorities in the back of the group. I noticed them doing that hell of a lot.
Yeah, I think though specifically I was more concerned that it would be a case of this is going to really pander for something that people don't actually care that much about anymore. They just pretend they do care. But realistically it was just a good film. From about 10, 20 maybe minutes in, it was a good film. And then I do agree about the pacing.
I was going to
2
ask,
hours 40. It got to a point where I was really, really enjoying the songs. I was swept up in it, and I thought this might end soon, and I'll be upset. And I was like, I can't believe I could watch an hour more of this. Yeah. And there probably was about an hour left, and I was like, maybe an hour was a bit too much in this case because the third act it started to really drag, but I still enjoyed it. It didn't detract loads from me. I probably would have given it higher. That's what I'm saying.
Wow,
I was very pleasantly surprised by it. Reminded me of the musicals that I love. And then I don't think they needed to... The split that they had was obviously because they wanted to get some of the big songs in this film. And those songs happen...
Well, I think that the intermission happens at the same point in the films and the original stage show. So
they probably just added a bit too much into this because the musical version is not 2 hours 40 and then an intermission, then another hour and a half or whatever. We'll get 2 hours, I imagine. It will be instead about an hour and a half and then an hour,
which I think is what this really could have been. Like,
Yeah.
I do think I do want to be clear, like that. My point that I was making back then was more like, of all of the issues that I had, they pretty much just came from their absolute dead set sights on this thematic objective that caused a few issues. Namely, didn't love the characters that much, and it went on a bit long. But that's basically it. And I'm totally with you on the rest of it. I think that the musical elements were incredible. But I also thought the directing was really, really good. Like, I really enjoyed the practical sets.
I found it very funny.
Yeah. Ariana Grande is quite funny.
I thought Ariana Grande, and that
Yeah.
was what turned it for me from her performance.
Yeah.
I was quite enjoying Cynthia's performance throughout, really. And Ariana Grande, not so much. And then I really did find she's being quite funny here.
She had a couple of good. She's good with timing, isn't she?
Making me laugh the most. I
Yeah.
think she played the ditzy role very, very well, and had some genuinely funny moments,
Funny comments here and
funny
there.
comments, funny movements. She's
Yeah.
physical comedy was really good as well.
Quick comment on color. I really like the whole absolute vision on color, where you just go, this is what this film's colors are
love
going to
your
be.
colour, mate,
I
don't
love
you?
my color,
You're
and
into
this was
colour.
one where
Yeah.
they clearly gone for the pink and the green. And I thought that the way it was presented in the sets was really fun, and I really liked that. The one comment I would have on that, the color that was a bit strange was, if you compare it to something like Barbie, which is obviously where they've got a little bit of inspiration from in terms of having these practical sets and these bright, vibrant colors. What you do afterwards is you will color grade it. So you might put a filter on a photo before or something like that, and it changes the kind of feel of the photo. And what Wicked did was it put a color grading that was almost a little muddy. And I think the objective is to kind of make it feel more real.
Yeah.
But actually, I think that part of the success in Barbie was that where they had the practical sets with the bright, vibrant colors, they lent into it. And it was okay because it is a make-believe world. And so it's kind of like intuitively
I
acceptable.
completely agree. I noticed it quite a bit in the first scene. And part of my issue with that opening song is I wasn't enjoying the song. I didn't really know if I'd even like the vibe of the story. And also, I thought the color grading was weird. Like, the saturation looked odd.
Yeah.
And all the way throughout, like, they end up going to the Emerald City, which is, again, like, color's a very important part of that whole sequence. And again, it is a bit odd. But it doesn't detract too much from the set pieces. Like, they are still very, very good.
Yeah.
But weirdly, the coloring could be better.
They've got this really vibrant
set.
set. They've got these really vibrant sets and outfits, but then put like a kind of drab filter over the top, and it just kind of felt unnecessary. It felt like they could have just lent further into it. And sure, and if it's in a bloody, if it's set in the real world, then you're going to have to tone it down a bit. But this is Oz. Like, this is one of the places you can kind of get away with just leaning into it. You don't need to put a dirty filter over it. So, but that's not I want to be clear. I liked the color of this film. I really did. I just thought that maybe I would have maybe made a different decision on the color grading of it. At the end, they'd clearly put so much work into the costumes and the sets and everything else to make it cohesive. And then they just kind of did a U-turn in the last second that just felt a bit weird, but like fine, I guess.
So, all right, favorite song.
Well, this first time I've listened through, so obviously the climax of Defying Gravity, I will remember forever. But if I had to pick another one, the one where it kept using Loathing.
Yeah, what's this feeling?
Loathing.
Yeah, what is this feeling?
That's a good song.
Yeah, I completely agree, because we were just speaking to Jamie's girlfriend, Faye, who we all watched this one together, didn't we?
We
watched
did.
it together.
Didn't talk
speak
about
for
it
her at the end,
afterwards.
apart from Faye, who was clapping. And we were playing it cool with each other, and we were like,
well, maybe I liked it, maybe I hated it.
I literally went straight on the tram and put on Loathing. And you know what I did? I was next to two girls who'd been to Wicked, and I was obviously getting on the tram on my own. Just a 26-year-old bloke, get his phone out, got my headphones in, went to put it on, didn't have Bluetooth put on that, so I just started playing it out loud. Loathing.
Oh, that's brilliant. How long was it on for?
No, it can't have been more than about 5 seconds, but I was like...
Do you reckon they were from the theatre? Because it was like 10...
Yeah, because it was right next to
they'd have understood. Well, on a quick note on that, obviously we mentioned Faye. She's watched the stage show a couple of times. This has been a lifelong... she's always loved the stage show to bits. So... interesting take. Somebody who's loved Wicked her whole life, now watching the film adaptation, seal of approval. She absolutely loved it. She said it really brought that magic back. And I think that there's a little bit of, it might be a little bit of the two lead actors, but just generally it does feel like the people who made this movie kind of did appreciate and love the original Wicked stage show. Like, I think the reason that some of my favorite bits were the musical elements were for the same reason that Faye liked it, is because the people who made it clearly did really like the musical. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, seal of approval from a Wicked fan. Seal of approval from Fred. I enjoyed tons of it, but the thematic elements just made it 2 hours 40 rather than like 1 hour 50, which would have been great.
Yeah.
And also, you know, I think that I could have really liked the characters. I didn't have to not like them. That's what kind of makes it a bit frustrating. Sometimes you need a character to be disliked for a narrative to go along. I could have quite liked Glinda, but she just had some moments of absurd shallowness to kind of set up the alphabet.
Yes, it comes with the territory, though. You're talking musicals come from stage shows where there's always the elements of melodrama, and it does. I mean, we're talking about a story which is effectively from the 1900s. Like,
this was written in the 80s. Wicked.
I know, but the actual setting is influenced from, or it is supposedly from, and they did not have nuanced characters like that. I do not care what you think about the Tin Man and Dorothy. They were pretty shallow. So I completely forgave them for that. And I think I found the charm in their friendship and relationship. I bought into it. Unless
you related to that.
And that makes a lot of stuff forgivable for you.
Definitely.
Still agree though that it didn't need to be as long as it did.
There could have been an improvement made somewhere in that realm. But yeah, so what we'll do is we'll nip out, I reckon.
We'll go we'll do a bit of that. What's we'll go down the yellow brick.
We might have to go down a yellow brick road
to find the machine.
We'll set off and just find out on the way.
The Emerald City where the machine is housed.
Yeah.
We'll twist some buttons, nobble some buttons.
We'll probably look a bit like Oz, the wizard, not Oz.
Yeah, no.
You'll draw a curtain back and there'll be us two behind it. Fred making noise. Anyway, we'll be back in 5 seconds with a score, unless you're on Spotify.
Take your headphones out your ears because you're about to hear me screaming in with a...
Okay, we're going out. We'll be back in a moment. Hello, Spotify listeners.
Hello, our favourites.
Just turn down the
not just YouTube
sensitivity a tiny bit.
Yeah.
As long as it's still picking you up, that's the most important thing.
When we come back in, Spotify listeners and YouTube, Rachel, when we come back in, get ready because I'm gonna do another big one. Yeah, we do it together.
I'll let you lead in. I'll let you get back in.
You try and
first.
harmonise it if you can.
Okay. All right, so it's time to stick some figures into the Main Night Machine. Fred, I'm going to need you to take the helm whilst I set some things up, so talk.
All right, let's talk about the Main Night Machine. So we've got 7 categories, and we're going to start with plot. We've already had a little bit of a conversation around some of the issues with the plot and its pacing. But
the strongest elements weren't necessarily the plot; it was the sound and the visual.
The sound's going to do. Yeah.
So I mean, it kind of has to a little bit.
Sound's going to do all right.
5.
Well, is it above a 7? Not above a 7. Does it make 7 the plot?
We're going straight in, are we? Okay.
I can preamble a bit. I'm thinking about another musical that we did. Sound of Music. Go on. I'm stopping preambling.
The plot wasn't terrible. It was just the reason I had such a laid out reasoning for what I didn't like was because I was trying to figure it out myself. I was just like, something's annoying me here. And I think that it was an enjoyable plot, and I found a really interesting premise, and I quite enjoyed the journey that we did get. It was just kind of diluted quite a lot, which was kind of one of the big problems, I think.
You mean diluted it? The pacing diluted it?
As in, like, there is a good journey of like 90 minutes. It's actually quite an enjoyable plot, and it's just spread across 2.5 hours.
You know what? I'd have chopped off the start and chopped off the bit just before they get to the wizard.
Oh, for part 2, are you saying?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, no, of course not. Not.
Are
are you saying chop off the end?
We're doing spoilers. Oh, we're not really
Let's
doing
try
spoilers.
not to do spoilers
So
for the first
I was saying, when you're saying there's about 90 minutes of a great film, for me, that 90 minutes is kind of like most of the end of the first act and the second, and then the end of the third act.
Yeah.
But there are 2 big chunks that you could just do away with.
I agree, yeah. Yeah, I think there were bits you could take away.
Still a lot of good stuff in there. So I think we whack a 7 in here.
Yeah, I think that...
Or is it a 6 is mixed?
Oh, when you
When
say
you
the
say
word
6
mix...
is mixed, it really throws it through the mixer. All right.
I'll pop 6.
Yeah. Whenever the word mix is used in the Mate Night Laboratory...
I suppose it's not perfect.
We both get very...
It's not a 10, but it's a 6.
So that's a shame. We'll have to give it something a bit higher later. Characters. Okay. Well, you loved them, didn't you?
I love the characters so much.
All right. Character.
Again, for me, it's similar to
I
plot.
don't think as bad. Although I did like your essay.
Similar to plot in that, like, it's not like they were all 100% detestable the whole time. It wasn't terrible. It was just that there was good stuff that was kind of diluted out by nonsense. It was just superfluous.
100% plot is a 7 and characters a 6.
Okay, I'd be happy with that. Yeah,
6.
I'd be happy with that, I think.
Because it definitely was mix characters.
Okay, dialogue.
Yeah.
I thought that the opening scene where it was like, oh, the wicked witch is dead and at this such a time, and it kind of sounded like a drama. Do you know what I mean? Like almost a commercial. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I was so pumped when that was going off. It sounded, for those who haven't watched but are just listening, the opening scene, they might even have it in a trailer, I don't know, but it's kind of showing the puddle on the floor. So the Wicked Witch of the West dies in Wizard of Oz 1939. If you haven't watched that yet, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling it. And what you've got is the puddle of water with her hat, and it like slow zooming across with like a very dramatic look to it. And it's got Ariana Grande doing a voiceover like a kind of true crime drama, saying like, oh, at 8:57 the witch was hit by water and died or something, and it's like
it's like a radio announcement that goes all the way out, isn't it? And it was very cool because I didn't know. I knew that Wicked was about the 2 witches, but I didn't know it was set as like a flashback, which can be a bit tired as a concept, but not knowing it was kind of refreshing.
Wasn't a problem.
No.
Yeah.
So also we've got to point out that it is funny. Not just because of performance carries it a bit, but it is actually pretty funny on the page sometimes.
Humor-wise, it was well written. Yeah, it wasn't like god tier, proper like a comedy, but when it wanted to be funny, it was actually quite funny, and the performances did help with that. Writing-wise, I mean, it was.
Yeah, I reckon 8 is great.
You reckon an 8? You reckon it gets an 8? Any other examples of dialogue that you liked at all? Convince me 8.
I thought that the sequence of this is a massive spoiler. So
Okay,
I'm not going to say it. But
who is it between? Is there a conversation
between Elphaba?
I can tell you where that name comes from in the spoiler section.
Oh, very nice. Elphaba's mother and not her father.
Right, I don't even remember.
There's a lot of like, it's Ariana Grande. Like when she starts painting the picture of Elphaba's life.
Yeah,
the whole voiceover of that as well.
You like that? Did you?
Yeah, I thought it was quite a cool, well done sequence.
Excellent. I'm happy with an 8. I think that they did well. Visuals.
Yeah, you got to say it is very good outside of the color grading. I think that is like a small demerit, but it doesn't make it below
and it's not
average.
Terrible. It's not like it's not terrible grading. It's just I probably would have gone
It
slightly
just stops
different
it from being a very good score, in my opinion.
The question for me is 7 or 8 for visuals. And I think, to be honest, with the effort that they put in on the wardrobe and the sets and everything, I'd be quite happy to give this
I think it was I would say 8 for sure.
I think 8 is pretty deserved for this.
Yeah, I think there are
not a 9,
a few movies these days. I don't think so. Like, I don't think it was...
Visually, what couple of these a year? That's what we usually say for a 9. 1 to 3 a year of 9s come out. Visually, is it that sort of level?
Yeah, it probably is pretty good.
This year.
Is it a trap? Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is a 9. And
the thing is, right?
It's going to do so well.
The green. I do think it. I think it was a really good film. I do think it deserves to do well. This film. In fact, when I wrote my score, I put 7.0 for enjoyment, but I think it deserves higher than a 7.5 overall. Like in my head, I was like, I think that it does get much higher than that, and visuals are one of the best parts of it.
Here with a 9, baby.
Oh my goodness! Oh my god!
Just getting a bit crazy in here.
Sound. Okay.
When was the last
Is it a
modern
10?
film we gave a 10 to? So, to be honest, I would actually give it a 9 because I don't think all of the songs were.
What's 10
Right.
qualitatively? Is it 1 per year, 1 per 2 years, 1 per...
Nah, when I think 10, generally speaking, it's like a once in a generation.
Wow.
Not like, I'm sorry, once in 5 years or something like that.
Once in 5 years?
Like
in my head, it
shouldn't
was
be-
slightly... But okay, yeah, no, okay.
We shouldn't be chucking out...
Let's say once every 5.
Yeah, if we can think of an obvious thing that goes against it,
Any
then it
Zimmer
probably
ones?
isn't a 10.
You got a score there. It's different musically, but...
We gave June 2 a 10.
Yeah,
for sound.
did we? But that does make like sound wise, it was very, very good. Do you think that June was better than Wicked in terms of just sound?
Across the board.
Just sound.
Yeah, I think it was a more memorable audio experience. But I think it was great. The music's a 9.
How did I get? Why has performance been done? All right, sorry. So let's just wrap up sound, and then I'll go back over to performance. I don't really know what's happened there. Okay, I'll go with a 9 for that then. I think you could have convinced me 10, but I'll be happy with 9.
I'd rather not.
So I've gone 7 plot, 6 character. That's right. Dialogue 8. Performance, I put 8.
I mean, I was thinking it probably was an 8.
Let's just do a very quick summary. I
thought the two leads were great. And also, I think that Jeff Goldblum is great.
I really like him in films, yeah. And I also think that... Well, here's a question for you. What category on here does the singing of the girls come under, of the leads come under?
Oh, yeah. Performance.
Okay, because, like, how many other people could do those two roles?
Maybe it's a 9.
Yeah.
Look, you could get lesser known actresses to play Ariana Grande's role. I don't know how well known. I mean, I don't really know Cynthia that well. Well, I didn't know Cynthia.
She did a great job of this role.
She did a great job, but Ariana Grande is a household name.
Yes,
and a pop star. For a pop star to have that sort of vocal chops is incredibly impressive.
Yep,
they'll have been like, that's amazing that we can get such a name
and
to do this.
Someone who's capable of singing.
Yeah.
Like Hugh Jackman for Les Mis.
Yeah.
A bit like that.
A bit like that.
Something similar. You know when people say Ariana Grande and the first thing you think is Huge Jackman?
They were probably thinking in this, oh, thank God we didn't have to get Hugh Jackman.
I actually think that if we're going to include singing under performance,
I think we
it would be
have
unfair to go lower than that. Yeah,
I think it's a 9.
And I tell you what, if Ariana Grande wasn't actually funny, and if Cynthia wasn't actually really cool when she needed to be, then the singing wouldn't have put it in a 9. Like they did their job outside of the singing very well.
No, they could have had other people who sang to that degree.
Yeah.
I think that for me, when it comes to performance, you have to talk about how limited is the pool of actors or actresses. They just call them actors now, don't they? That could have done that. And there's a very, very, very small pool of people who can sing to that standard and also act that well.
I think that this is bugging out, by the way, because it seems to have changed. Visuals wasn't 9, was it?
Visuals was 9, yeah.
What was sound? Sound is 9. So we've got 3 9s: performance, sound, and visuals.
Should we put, plot was a bit mixed, wasn't it?
Plot was definitely mixed.
Plot was a bit mixed. This is going to be better than The Godfather.
Okay, so we got plot 6, character 6, dialogue 8, performance 9, visuals 9, and sound 9. Are we happy? That sounds
I'm
about
happy
right.
with that, yeah.
Impact, again, it's going to do pretty well. It's
do
very
well,
early.
But it's early days, isn't
But it, in terms of magnitude, this is the biggest film this year already, looking like.
All right, so what are the biggest grossing so far was Wolverine and
Deadpool Wolverine will probably,
and also
Are we taking
Inside Out
more
2
than...
had more. Inside Out 2 is that still the highest grossing?
Sorry, in my head, I wasn't just thinking grossing. I was thinking trying to go grossing and impact as best I could.
I think Deadpool Wolverine has had a bigger impact than this.
Than
Those early
Wicked will.
days, isn't it?
The thing about Wicked is when you're taking impact, how much of this are we taking into consideration of like Deadpool and Wolverine doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, this was good.
This was Wizard of Oz. This has been going on for over 100 years, and and they've actually done a good job of a remake here. Like, this is a good film.
Yeah, I mean, the comics for those characters have been going on. They're part of a legacy, but what did we give? What did we give for impact for Deadpool and Wolverine? That's a good yardstick.
8. Wow.
Yeah, 8.
We really didn't like that film. Okay, 8. All right.
Give it an 8.
How do you want to do this?
Ooh. Wait, are we coming back in?
Yeah, how do you want to come back in?
So we're going to go...
Do you want me to lead us in?
I'll do it, and then you can ride on the coattails of whatever you want to do.
Okay. We're back.
What a ride!
I've
got a broomstick up my bum. That's clean.
You did that on the walk back as well. All right, cool. So we've been to the Main Eye Machine.
Yeah, followed the yellow brick road.
Yep. And we also came back with
a number.
The number for Wicked, the correct number.
The number. Yeah, exactly that.
Wicked 2024. This is part of a ginormous franchise. This is important, a cultural phenomenon.
I'll give you that. Important, yeah, for sure.
7.80 out of 10.
Very high, that.
I thought it was going to come back higher.
I thought it might get in the 8s, but I don't know if it was an 8 film. I gave it an enjoyment score of 8.2.
Yeah.
Thinking it won't get that high.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought, as someone who is, wanting to be a critic of films, I wouldn't have given this an 8.2 in the.
Well, it got 8.2 on IMDb at the minute.
Objectivity.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, but I mean, IMDb is no Main Eye Machine.
It's not going to be correct. Like
it's not going to be bang
us.
on. Now, I think that's a great. It's always the best score. It's the score.
Yeah, and I think that if we had to kind of summarize for those who missed the Main Eye Machine conversation, the side of the singing and the kind of presentation of this thing absolutely nailed. The performance is great.
Yeah.
Perhaps just the screenplay adaptation, the writing,
a bit little long,
was just. Yeah, it was stretched out, and it did suffer a bit for that, and it ruined my enjoyment score a little bit. But it also obviously tainted the Main Eye Machine's opinion a little bit as well. Yeah. Not opinion, sorry, facts.
Right. It tainted the fact of the machine marginally.
So if you enjoyed that, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Thank you.
Check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can hear what goes on in the Main Eye Machine room. And we've also got other segments for you to listen to, which will be on our YouTube channel. Thanks so much. We're gonna try. Okay, we're back in the room. Do you want to just? Do you want it to just come in with you?
Get slapped with a segment. You ready?
I'm ready to be
It'll
slapped.
be a hit by a segment.
All right, let's go.
There's a segment incoming, and it's got your name on it.
Oh my goodness!
Special Freddy segment, everyone. A rarity these days.
Lucky us.
Let me tell you, Jambo, I love musicals.
Really?
But not everyone does. Not sure if you knew that.
I was aware.
For some, when they think of musicals, they don't think My Favourite Things. They think The Hills Are Alive with the sound of music that I don't like.
Yeah, and you know what? I understand that.
But, Jambo, maybe there is something out there for everyone. What people don't realise is not all musicals sound the same. So today, I've bought a selection of songs to try if you think you don't like musicals.
Ooh,
Yeah, little Freddy Sizzle has some sauce on that
like
thing.
that. I can already hear the YouTube
Yeah,
title.
you better believe it. Well, that was the title. So yes, you can.
And I could hear it.
You heard it well.
Yeah.
You're not deaf
Just
since
stating
last
the
we
obvious.
spoke. So I've bought 10, which may be too many. So I'm gonna rattle through them for us to discuss. And we're not really going to discuss. I'm going to just shout them at you.
That makes
and
sense.
You can go, ooh, maybe you know them, maybe you
That
don't.
song sucks.
If you have any actual input, feel free. You know, this isn't a one-way street, Jambo. It's a conversation.
Excellent.
A conversation between friends. Best friends.
Should it not be mates?
So these aren't going to be your garden variety show tunes. No. They are going to be
Pizzazz
interesting,
away.
but they're gonna. I tried to pick things that are a bit different to what someone stereotypically thinks is a musical number.
And there is a sound that just sounds like a musical number.
And not every musical song.
A lot of them
is one of them.
aren't anymore. Like there are a lot of things that you just don't sound like musicals.
Exactly,
So-
and there's a mix of modern ones in here, but we got some classics as well.
Let's hear
And
it.
number one is Sure
Wait,
to
hang
Knock
on.
Your Socks Off.
Oh, right, okay. You're going to start with 10, though.
I will start with
All
10.
right, I thought you were just going to tell us the best one.
Do you like that though? That was a bit of I don't know why. I would leave them wanting more.
Number one's going to be great.
We're going to start at number 10 and we're going to end at number 2. But number 1 would have been great.
All right, go on. 10.
So you
Let's
ready?
hear it.
Number 10, we have Grease. The opening number from Grease. So Grease is the word, that real kind of funky. We gotta burn up and we go away.
Belter.
And it's tough for me to not sing some of these. Now, this
Well, you're
was
going to get us copyright struck if you're not careful.
if I don't sing them. If we put them in, we will. Maybe we have to sing them.
But if you sing them too well,
Oh, no.
then it might,
if I open it
the
up and it
algorithm
just
might
plays.
detect that John Travolta is singing.
No, not in this one. This is written by Jim Jacobs and Warren Casey. It is actually sang by Frankie Valli.
Okay, I've never
The
heard of him
same
before.
guy. You know some of his songs. He sang "Oh What a Night," and he also sang "You're Just Too Good to Be True."
Some bloody good
Some
songs.
absolute belters,
I
yeah.
might check this guy
Little
out.
well known. So if you like that sort of vibe, this really plays into that. Now the next one, a very little known one. I know you know because I believe I've shown you. It is called "Hard to Be the Bard"
You have shown me that. And
by
it is
Something
an
Rotten.
excellent song.
A very cool song. And Jamie's a good soundboard for this because you're not like as into musicals.
I do like musicals. I'm not.
But if I show you one and you're like, oh yeah, that's
I'll
pretty
watch
good.
stuff that I'm shown. I don't go around making it like a thing that I'm a guy who doesn't like musicals.
So this is by, I can't read my own bloody writing, Carrion Wayne Kirkpatrick. Sorry if I've mispronounced anyone there.
Definitely correct.
This spelling of Carrie makes absolutely no sense, so it probably isn't that.
Sorry.
Anyway, this is a musical about Shakespeare, although Shakespeare's a character in it, and he's the one who sings this song, Hard to Be the Bard. Bard, another name for
Writer?
Shakespeare.
Yeah, okay.
The Bard of Avon.
Oh, right.
I think Bard actually is more generally a name for a writer.
That
but
kind of
The
profession.
Bard of Avon famously is one of his monikers. Now, in this, he is kind of a bit of a sleazy, famous person where it's all gone to his head and he's just a bit of a tosspot. And he's played excellently by Christian Ball, who does one of, for my money, the best English accents ever recorded by an American.
And you know what? you are a strong critic of accents. You will pick it up if someone doesn't do your accent
This is one where I couldn't tell. It took me a while, and I was like, you know what? He might not be English, and that is very hard for someone to get past me on an accent. And I checked it. I checked who it was by because I wanted to see if he was American or English.
Good for him.
Turns out he was American, which is I could
Rare.
not pay a higher compliment than that. And then we've got a bit of a throwback there. What
number are we
lesser known one. That was number 9. Number 8, we've got From Oliver by Lionel Bart. You must know some Oliver songs. Any in mind?
I do not know Oliver songs.
This one isn't. Well, you've got classics like.
Is it one about food?
Yeah, Food, Glorious Food.
Yeah.
You've got the one by the Artful Dodger, which is escaping me, and then you've got one by Nancy. There are more famous ones, but the best one is Reviewing the Situation. If you don't like classic musical songs, but you want to listen to an old one from a very famous established one, this is a Ron Moody classic. I'm reviewing the situation. It's all about this old-timey geezer who's lived a life of crime and realising his heart isn't as black as they paint.
Yeah,
Very cool song.
Well, I tell you what, that does raise an interesting quick point on musical numbers can be a little more enjoyable if you understand the kind of story that's taking place.
For sure.
It definitely makes a difference. So if there's a musical number that you enjoy, check out what the story is behind that song and you'll probably enjoy it more.
We were speaking about it earlier. There are some songs that really get you into musicals, and if anyone listens to this and actually gives them a try and they do get into a musical, that would be really cool. That is a great musical, and it's a great classic musical
Oliver.
as well.
Is it a film? Is there a film?
It's a film. This is the film version I'm talking about. I'll try and be clear when it's not. So Grease is the film version. Hard to Be the Bard doesn't have a film, but you can find that on Spotify. Reviewing the Situation, Oliver, big film, very famous.
Be on YouTube.
Best Picture winner.
Was it? What year?
I want to say 69.
Oh, so it's an old one.
Old film, but still very good.
Okay.
Although you maybe need to like musicals for it to be good. See, try the film. Try the
What do you
song.
think?
All right, now we've got 2, which coupled for 7 and 6. They are openers from 21st century's greatest musical composer, who is
John Williams.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, right, okay.
I say musical as in composer of musicals.
That was just a name that I...
John Williams, you've named someone who was a composer.
He did. I was correct, was he? There was a good chance that wasn't going to be right.
It could have been a massively interesting coincidence. He just plunked for 2 common names. Anyway, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Encanto, Hamilton, bloody In the Streets, which is In the Heights, which is directed by the same guy who did Wicked.
Yeah, and so those are 2 that you've mentioned there. Alexander Hamilton. So I went for the openers here because they're very easy to get you into the world of the story that he's trying to portray. Like the first time I heard Alexander Hamilton, it was just so different.
Which number is that getting? 7 or 6?
This is 7. I've gone for Alexander Hamilton.
Well, I think personally that Alexander Hamilton is the best musical song ever.
Yeah, okay.
Full stop. And that was the song that got me into Hamilton and broadly really got me much more into musicals.
I think I could have easily put that higher, but I'm guessing if people are actually finding this who say they don't like musicals, never tried, they might have tried that one. So I'm trying to do a few more.
It's a hip hop one for those who are listening and want to know. This is he says it's a hip hop thing. He is. If you listen to hip hop, it's not really. If you're a big fan of hip hop, don't listen to
it's
this.
like someone who writes musicals has written
a hip hop song. It's exactly like that. Yeah,
but yeah, it is. There's obviously hip hop fast cadence influence.
Exactly. And he nails that kind of like very fast cadence, almost rapping sort of style of music.
It's amazing. But I actually prefer, as a song, the opener to In the Heights.
Okay, which is the one that goes in the heights.
Yeah, more of a
in the streets.
More of a Latin music influence.
Yeah.
Very cool. Latin American music, not Latin.
Remember we had this.
Cappuccino, donde está la biblioteca? It's Spanish and Italian.
Latin American.
Slightly less famous, only slightly because since the film, obviously that did very well, and the film is very good. Personally, I prefer the original cast version, but might just be because I listened to that first. So pick your poison there. Number 5. This is from Dreamgirls.
Don't know.
Now, this song is real R&B powerhouse ballad. So throw in something a bit different into the mix here. This is If You Love Your Whitney Houston.
Okay.
To be honest, if you love your Whitney Houston, you probably like musicals. But
Yeah, okay.
This one is very good, and you could hear it as some sort of R&B pop chart popper, pop topper, pop chop suey pop chopper, and it's called "And I Am Telling You." I'm not going. And I am telling you.
Okay.
I'm not leaving.
Wait, hang on.
I'm not living without you.
Is this the one?
I don't want to be free.
So you say it's called Dreamgirls.
Dreamgirls.
It's not got Jamie
Eddie
Foxx
Murphy.
in it.
Jamie Foxx is maybe in
Like
it
as like a sleazy agent or something. Faye showed me a song.
I think he would be, yeah.
Which was incredible. And I think Beyonce was singing it or something, but it was a cover.
Beyonce is in Dreamgirls, yeah.
I think I know. I
believe Jennifer Hudson sings this one, though. But
I might have been that because I don't think the one that was really incredible that Faye showed me was the Beyonce one. It was actually...
It'll be this. This one is one of the few songs that I didn't know was from a musical, but I knew the song. And I found out it was from a musical. I was like, oh man, I didn't know that.
It's incredible, isn't it? I remember the one you're talking about now.
So Jennifer Hudson sings Tom Ian, and Henry Kruger.
Definitely
Sorry,
got
Tom.
that right.
Apologies about that.
Definitely right.
If you want an interesting little story around this one, I did watch it live and got unbelievably pissed
Drunk.
and joined in with her.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I just stood up and be like, "Daring you."
With the what?
Yeah, and people are like, "Sit down."
Can you please sit down?
Yeah, apparently it was incredibly embarrassing.
No.
Like, I'm not leaving without you.
What kind of venue were you in? What was
We
it
were
like?
in. It was in
Like a dinner?
No, it was a world. It was a national theatre.
No.
And we were at the top. And I was stood up going like, and then sometimes they'd sing something I didn't know, and I'd go like, woo!
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Who were you with?
Rachel, and we went on a double date with some people from work, and they said, we're never going on a double date with them ever again.
They did. That's
And it gets brought up when we see them every time.
What's that?
It gets brought up every time.
Well, I'm not bloody surprised, mate. That's
pretty bad.
That's a bad one.
Pretty bad. Number 4. Now, a bit of a change up here. We've got from Dear Evan Hansen, Good For You. This one is heavy on the guitars, but a proper like upbeat guitar sound. Really good snarly vocals from Rachel Bay Jones. Music by Benj Pansak, or Pasak maybe. I should have written this a bit clearer. And Justin Paul. There are some more famous songs from this as well. But if you're trying to find something that you want to hear to get you a bit more into musicals, I'll give this one a bash. There's another one called Waving Through a Window, which is very musically, which I wouldn't recommend. But Good For You.
Yeah,
really
I think you might have
song.
showed me a while back,
We've
but I can't
listened to it a
remember.
bit,
It was a good while ago.
All right, going to another classic here from Hairspray, Run and Tell That, sang by Elijah Kelly, written by Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman. Amazing film set in the kind of 60s era America, 50s, 60s, where they were still segregating television shows and networks, and they had like a white show on this week, and then some days they allowed the black people to have their own slot, and then it's about a cast of characters integrating, and this guy's a black guy absolutely belting it in a song about how the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Nice. Unbelievable. Great shit.
Yeah, okay.
All right. And I'd recommend actually this one and the next one for great songs, even if you don't think you like musicals. Hairspray's got a lot. And the next one.
Number 2,
Bugsy Malone, So You Want to Be a Boxer.
Okay.
Unbelievable song. So it was actually a film before a stage musical. So it was written by a guy, Paul Williams, who had a bit more kind of jazzy influence, and stylistically it's a bit of Gershwin sort of vibes. Again, set in a roaring 20s a prohibition era, but the actors in it are all kids.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting film dynamic. Like they're all kids playing they're all kids playing adults, but the singing is overdubbed by this guy, Paul Williams. So it looks really weird, but if you grew up with it, you don't really notice it. Looking back, it might be a bit odd, but the songs in it are belters.
Good songs.
So there's a song at a boxing ring about a guy who becomes a boxer, and it is top quality.
Well, before you get on to number one, if musicals are something you're curious about, which they must be if you're this far for a video about getting into musicals, what I would say is if you find one good song that you like, watch the musical, right? You'll get that song and it'll feel brilliant. But what you'll probably find is there's another song that you kind of enjoy. Now, if you go one more time, then you'll start to find a couple of them. The one that you thought you enjoyed becomes a real enjoyment. And you might go, what's the point of putting this effort in? Well, when you do put the effort in and you get to a point where there's a musical where you like at least 50% of the songs, it is an incredible thing to sit through. Like, because you're just ready for belter after belter. It's like an album on steroids.
Yeah,
once you
I was
going to
say exactly that. Like, imagine depriving yourself of an amazing album.
Yeah.
But even better because it tells a story that is so much more engaging. There's people involved. You can watch, you can see, and going to a musical live when it's good is a real amazing visual experience.
It is a little bit of work, definitely, to find those things and to listen through a couple of times.
What I bought here are 10 gateway drugs.
Exactly.
For you to get on smack.
Trust me, it could be the next smack.
Number one, by the way. Have you guessed what it is?
I haven't. I don't.
You will love it. It is one of, if not my absolute go-to. And I've showed this song to multiple people, and it has become a staple of their listening history. We are talking Heaven on Their Minds.
Oh, yes.
From Jesus Christ Superstar. Now, you have to watch the film version, the Carl Anderson version. Nothing else comes close. He is the one. You do have some very funny different versions, which maybe another time we can talk about. But his version is probably the greatest male vocal performance I've ever seen in a musical. It is incredible, and the song itself has got that kind of guitar,
that bass just going like,
unbelievable. If you were going to listen to any, give that a crack. Around, he's playing
on Spotify, by the way.
Judas, but make sure you get the film version on Spotify. I'd recommend going for. I don't want you to be underwhelmed. You have to go for Carl Anderson's version. So maybe check it on YouTube first because you can watch the video as well. But it's from the film version. He's playing Judas. He's talking about Jesus and how people are seeing him as a Messiah when he's just a man, and it is belting. His voice. Oh. I mean, this is a staple of our car journeys.
I mean, I have woken up ill the next day because we've had it on, seeing with the windows open at the top of your lungs, and it's an incredible experience, that song. And I've never watched it. I've never watched the film or any of the. I don't know Jesus Christ Superstar, but yes, I regularly listen to it. And even though it's a very niche song, I remember once I was pulled up at the lights on the way out of work, and this car next to me had it on. And I was like trying to get their attention to be like, this is a good song, this, mate. And
so you just had to go, Jesus!
Weirdly, they kept like looking in the opposite direction to me.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, losers.
But no, incredible song. Great number one choice.
Had to be number one.
Yeah.
The number one of all, 100%.
Just a belter. Wow. Thank you so much
for listening. Like and subscribe. I should have said that at the start. I did plan to say that at the start and got too excited by the list.
If you've made it this far, you should definitely like and subscribe.
It would be nice. Yeah. But and if anyone actually finds this who doesn't like musicals, because there might be a few who genuinely find it because of the reason we tried to get people to watch it, then please do tell me if you listen to any and you actually like them. If you listen to all of them,
Bloody
I
hell.
couldn't be happier. But yeah, if there are any that you listen to,
Come
and you
over
really
for
like,
dinner.
Yeah, I'm already there. I'm outside. I'm in your bins. See
All right. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you on the next one.
you later.
Quick fun fact for you.
Oh, did
Alphabet
yeah.
comes from the initials of the writer, which is L.F. Baum. And it's LFB, Alphabet. It ended up becoming, that's why she's called Alphabet.
Yeah, no.
I can't remember his first name now, but it's some L.F. Baum.
Yeah.
So there you go. Commitment to the practical sets. You know, there was a poppy field that they went through. They planted like 60,000 poppies for that scene or something insane.
Money in a film.
145. I mean, God, you're throwing it. I mean,
milli.
they must be using the poppies for something else.
Was it Disney?
Surely it was.
Surely Disney.
Surely.
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 it was
Surely.
Disney. Surely.
Surely.
It was not Disney.
Yeah, probably Disney. But overall, good film. Very good film, some would say.
All right. Thank you so much for listening, Spotify
Thanks,
listeners,
Rachel.
Apple listeners,
Thanks, Lavender.
whoever it is. Thank you. We appreciate it.
YouTube podcasts.
YouTube podcast. We will continue to release episodes as and when YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just check us out, man. We're called Mate Night. We talk about films. And we'll see you on the next one.
Very nice. Have a good day.